welcome back to Football Kentron, the only English language podcast dedicated to Armenian football. Aram here with Chadens and Armen, the usual suspects. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Good, baby. A lot to talk
Glad to be
about.
back.
Not getting home.
A lot, of course, as usual, a bajillion things to talk about. So we will start as we do domestically, because we haven't kept up with the Armenian Premier League in our last episode. Not much has changed, but things are starting to get a little bit interesting. Urartu currently tops the table with 12 games played, with 9 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses, and their current form is crazy. Just 5-game win streak. What's happening here? How did they, where is this coming from?
Well, I started watching their games, and then all of a sudden they're top of the league. So I think that was a magic.
You're saying it like he's a lucky charm. I explained the joke. So I think it's starting to shape up a little bit at last. I mean, it's crazy, and the pretty much the core of the team is the same as last year. That's what's craziest, in my opinion. But if you think about it, it's that these players, the young ones, are starting to be a little more mature, and it's shaping into form and results because the quality was always there.
Yeah, solid core of Armenian players. That was one thing we were concerned about when Dimitri Grinko took charge, but it seems like they've kept it. So they're currently top of the group with 28 points, and right behind them with 27 points is Alashkert, and behind Alashkert on 22 points, but with a game in hand is Arada Armenia, and in 21 points is Pyunik, also with a game in hand. So that's what the top 4 is currently looking like. That's like the first, I would say, top pack. And then at the bottom of the table is FC Noah with 5 points. Bekma is right above them with 7, and Shirak with 11. But the surprise package, I would say, so far this season has been FC Van. They're on 17 points in 5th place, and they can still do a number and put a little bit of pressure on the top pack.
And they have a lot of Armenian talent, which last year they didn't have. They had like a super high profile goalkeeper in former Torino substitute keeper Domenico Coppola, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. And he left the team, and they signed like 3 or 4 more Armenians. Pavel Gorelov, our Football Kentron future star, Kevok Najarian from Pyunik, now David Atshakian, former Chicago Fire. And they've got like 7 good Armenians. Edgar Movsisyan is in thick form for them, one of the top goal scorers of the APL. Very interesting team this season.
Yeah, they have like 8 or 9 Armenian players starting for them in every game, and they're doing really, really well. And you're right, Edgar Movsisyan is having a good season. And they also just signed, this was the random bit of news from last week, David Arshakian, the player who spent, I think, most of his career in Lithuania, or not Lithuania, sorry.
Yeah, well, everywhere. Chicago Fire, Lithuania, Russia, Croatia, Denmark. He actually played for Vela, Babayan's former team.
Yeah, so that's a bit of random trivia there. So we'll see what happens. They can do it. They can do something, and I hope
they can.
do.
Yeah,
makes it a little bit more interesting.
They're tactically very good as well. They're tactically very good. They're organized, and they're sitting right in the middle of the table. So
I want to see what a Gorelov partnership would be with Najarian. I think that would be very interesting.
Yeah,
midfield duo.
Well, it's been the case, and if you look at the form, it's like last 5 games. From most recent to least, it's draw, win and lose. Like positive, like pretty positive and very tight. If you see 3 draws in a row, 0 goal difference, like games, like close games.
They're very balanced. I think they're exactly what Urartu was last season.
Was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
balanced.
And now Urartu has the most goals, well, second best attack in the league, and the second best defense.
Yeah.
So
only Arada Armenia has a better defense than them, but Arada Armenia isn't scoring nearly as many goals as you
with
do.
so many youth players, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. I don't know. Urartu is on fire, but we'll see what happens. I think once Pyunik, well, we hope Pyunik continue in European competition, but I think once that is done, because obviously we don't expect them to go all the way and win the conference league. Once that's done, I anticipate Pyunik really just going full throttle when it comes to the league. Well, that wraps it up for the APL. Let's move on to the meat and potatoes, which is Armenians abroad. We'll start with Eduard Sperstyan, who today had another assist, I believe, in the Russian Premier League.
Yeah.
This time it was against Nizhny Novgorod. You know them. Great. Yeah, Sevicyan. I don't even know if he played. Did he play?
Oh, I didn't check.
Of course not. After he said he was going to play for Armenia like a few months ago, everyone remembers. Then immediately he got signed by Nizhny Novgorod. Then look, 0 minutes.
Yeah,
he's
they
on
got
the bench,
he was on the bench. He didn't come on. Well, I mean,
they got 2 red cards. Maybe he might just pop in.
Well, speaking of the man of the hour, Eduard Sperstyan now has 14 matches played so far in the domestic league, and he has 9 goals and 5 assists. So he's averaging a goal or an assist per game, which is insane. He's single-handedly carrying Krasnodar.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. If you look at the goal contributions of the rest of the team, it's very, very minimal numbers. I think that their center forward, Cordoba, I think he has like 5 goals only. So this is Eduard is almost, he has like triple the striker's goal contribution, which is crazy.
Yeah. For reference, John Cordova, Colombian striker, is played 5 to 10 seasons in Bundesliga, and not even as a rotation player. He was a starting center forward for Köln and Hertha Berlin, I believe. So that's
imagine if he's surrounded by better players.
He's outperforming that player, that kind of guy.
Yeah. Oh, Cordoba's also played in La Liga, apparently.
I'm sure he has. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a season.
His
boom
was in Bundesliga.
Yeah. But
imagine if Edo plays around players, everyone around him would be of that caliber.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was coached by Daniel Farke, so I'm sure Bundesliga clubs might be all over him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly.
So Zenit St. Petersburg is top of the league in Russia, and his equivalent counterpart is, I guess I would be Claudinho, I think, or trying to figure out who plays more attacking midfield for this team rather than defensive midfield. Yeah, Claudinho. I think that would be the equivalent person. Has 2 goals and 3 assists. So if you replace that guy with Spertsyan, who knows what the numbers would be, because he would be surrounded by infinitely better players, a much more talented teammates. So I think he's doing literally at God's work for this club. So we'll see. I mean, I hope
he is their God.
I hope he gets I hope he gets bought this summer. I really, really hope he goes to a good team. He deserves it, I think.
Oh, I would say.
Moving on, Chadens, Cyprus.
To the Mediterranean.
Haroyan. Anorthosi was in a bit of a slump, right? They were out of weird games. Hovo's been injured, right?
Mm-hmm. It's been a couple of games now. He's been injured. Haroyan is starting games. This was yesterday. I think was his 4th or 5th start into the season. They have a new manager who used to be at Watford, from what I believe.
Yeah.
and they finally got the win. It was Haroyan's first win. He also scored a goal. It was a corner kick. The defender tried to clear it, and then it came to his foot, and then he turned and smashed it home. And they got the 3-0 win, which was 3-0, was it? 3-1. I think it was 3-0 win.
3-0.
Yeah. And then on the other end, in the city of Nicosia, my city, Kardashian, he got a 1-1 draw against Apollon Limassol, the very strong team. They were facing a lot of attempts against them. They had to again perform defensively as often because the team is not really in a great place right now. But they got a 1-1 draw. That every single point is needed. So it was good that they got that last minute winner.
Yeah, I think it's important that he keeps playing. That's the important part. It's important that he starts every game. Keeps that momentum going. Obviously, we don't want his team getting relegated, but he needs to do the job in the back. So the people in the front need to do their job. So it looks like they're not scoring that many goals, but what can you do? Hopefully it's something that'll be fixed. But yeah, that's good stuff in Cyprus. I think we're happy that he went there overall. I think it makes something. It was a move that I think we were suggesting a lot, and we do suggest that players go to Cyprus regularly, the ones that play in Armenia, just because it's an easy transition and it's a very good league. So
a stepping stone, basically.
Yeah,
Greece is more of a bigger stepping stone, but to get to Greece, you can come from Cyprus.
Yeah,
that could
exactly.
Work.
Yeah, and sometimes you can even skip Greece into a top 10 league from Cyprus.
Speaking of stepping stones, the club that we were hoping, the player that we were hoping, would make the leap from the stepping stone, Vahan Bicakcan, is having a bit of a slump.
Frustrating. It's annoying.
He hasn't scored in several games. He was coming off the bench a lot. I mean, the positive is he started the last 2 games, including today's 1-1 draw with Lechia Warsaw. I watched the game. He didn't play great, but he didn't play bad. It was like okay, and I was listening to the commentators while they were talking, and obviously I don't understand Polish, but when they were clearly talking about him as he was being substituted around the 60-something minute mark, and they said good. So
the Vahan Bicakcan.
Yeah, the Vahan Bicakcan.
And you understood everything.
And then they go and then the other guy goes so. And I was like, okay, so he did salt.
Okay. Yeah.
But another guy who is just stepping stones, right? This is where we're going. Eduard Sperstyan,
bouncing,
is obviously in Bulgaria now, and he registered his first assist for Sofia. And he's been playing very, very well. He's been starting.
Yeah.
He got there, and
he's been starting as a striker, I think. He's not even playing for a wing. He's playing as a striker, I believe. I saw the lineups.
Yeah, he's been playing as a striker, but I think the one thing I noticed is he's been drifting. He's starting in the center, and then he like works his way when the game like continues through the right. And then I remember in the last game they actually switched wings in the second half, and he was playing on the left side. So versatile, really good player, and another player that like APL, really really talented, promising product that had things that didn't work out in his favor. He made some decisions and he hit a slump, but hopefully CSKA Sofia, as Armen has written in all caps on our document. So because there's 2 clubs apparently.
Because it is not Sofia, it's like
there's like 4 Sofias.
It's Sofia's the capital.
Sofia, sorry, not Sofia's. Sofia's.
Sofia. There's like 5 teams there and 2 CSKAs, by the way. It's half of the league gotta be from there.
Quarter of the league is CSKA.
Bulgarian fans were trying to clarify it for us on Twitter, I remember.
Yeah.
Moving a little bit up north, Um,
We're just going on
yeah,
around
to
Europe.
Denmark, where Edgar Babayan is playing for Randers. I haven't personally been watching him, but I know Armin, you have been. How is he looking over
Yeah,
there?
it's been good. It's been good. I mean, he's a player that I would say Armenia should utilize much more. And for some reason, I honestly don't think he was injured. Last time out, he said he was, and the club said he was. I don't think he was. Because immediately after national team camp that he missed due to injury, he started and got an assist or a goal, I believe, and his in pretty good form. They topped the table. They were fighting for the title against Challenger, which we will get into in a little bit. It's a good team. He's picking up form. Hopefully, he joins the national team more often. But for that, we need a national team that
Will
gets
utilize
results
him.
and yeah, not just that, but that like will lure and will be an interesting place and environment for our more talented players abroad that
Yeah.
sometimes don't always like what they see in the national team environment.
Yeah. Well, it can't always be positive news. And this is the one negative news we have in Armenians abroad. Felix Ferayan and Hoyevko have been relegated in the Finnish first division. Felix played a grand total of what, like 2 games? I think he played the first game of the
Two
season
league games
and the last game of the
and the last
season.
one.
So he was a good sandwich. In that case. Obviously, we had high hopes for it, but clearly the direction of Hoyevko wasn't looking too great. And now I think the big
No,
question.
they're having financial trouble, a lot of financial trouble,
Yeah,
and honestly, he is the best keeper they had this season, and they never used him. And I'm sure that must have been the case with other players, like for instance Noah that had Musakhanyan is not playing for them anymore, even though he is technically a Noah player, but like Noah case in Hoyevko.
yeah.
That
I mean, it happens, and I think I pointed this out a while back where their goalkeeping coach was this Portuguese guy, and he was the one that brought in Beto. And then after Beto left, he brought in another Portuguese goalkeeper. So it looked like if Ferayan had Portuguese citizenship, he would be playing every game. So little annoying there, but I mean, I think
Felixinho.
yeah, I would hope he finds a new club because he is really good. He's big, he's talented. Come to
Yeah.
Armenia. That's my piece of advice for Felix if he's listening. And if you didn't know, we actually interviewed Felix in a great interview that we did. He was a great class guy, very nice.
Yeah.
Go listen to that if you haven't already. It's a pretty good episode. Um, anything to add, boys? Armenians abroad. Anyone we missed?
Nothing that comes to mind, like nothing noteworthy at the moment.
So all right. Well, speaking of
I hope
noteworthy,
one day there will be so many that we'll miss so many of them.
I hope so too.
But yeah,
Well,
I
the
think
list
it's
is growing.
what's happening now.
Yeah. Um,
We just gotta
the
pick and
grand
choose.
the grand competition, European competition. We will first start with the UEFA Champions League, where Henrik Mkhitaryan and Inter Milan are second in their group, the group of death, as it was known, and have a very, very good chance of making it through to the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League. Inter are in a group with Bayern Munich, Barcelona,
And Victoria.
and Victoria, who have been like the
yeah.
whipping boys. Their next match is, it's true. Their next match is this Wednesday against Victoria, where I believe if they get
They
three
won
points,
their through, bro.
yeah, they win, they're through. And they
The
actually
reason
would.
is because they beat Barcelona at home and drew away, and that was the head-to-head matchup there. The winner of that two-game matchup would go through, and Inter turns out to be Inter.
Yeah, and I would say they would have already been through though had I think I can't
Oh
remember the name
yeah,
of the
this
player.
one.
Who's it that he's like that
I think
20-year-old
Aslani.
Aslani? Yes, had Aslani not been selfish and cut the ball across to Mkhitaryan, who would have literally had a tap in. Instead, Aslani chose to take the shot, and
On the
they ended up
goalkeeper.
drawing. And it was the last, like pretty much the last kick of the game, and it would have.
Aslani,
Yeah, they would have.
Aslani with a double act.
Everyone was screaming at him,
Lol.
especially Henrik. Henrik was like raging, and you know what? I mean, he has a good point. But in terms of like individual performances, Mkhitaryan hasn't been putting up numbers. And someone was actually asking me about this. I think total in the league he has one assist in 7 games, and someone's asking me why this is the
Different
case.
role.
And he's playing a dramatically different role for Inter Milan than he was in his previous clubs, especially in Roma. He's been playing in a central midfield trio. I would say it's him, it's Hakan
Calhanoglu, I think, and Barelli.
and
Barella, sorry,
Barella.
Barella.
yeah. So he's been more of like the left-sided tracking back and carrying the ball forward, and not necessarily the one creating the chances.
Makes sense, really.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't want to pick and choose between the players and you want to play Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan together, that's how it's going to have to be. One of them is going to have to be more advanced, or else you're just going to get murdered on the counterattack. So I mean, it's working for them. I mean, they're not so hot in the league because they're sitting 8th place, but you know what? Going through in the Champions League, I think would help their chances.
Yeah, it's gonna help them a lot for sure. Yeah.
Moving on to Ottoman's favorite city in France, Nantes. Armen, tell us how they are performing with our boy Gorman Velian, who made a wonderful appearance on the bench, not off the bench.
Wow, you had the people there.
Yeah.
Stellar appearance, staring performance. They're not so hot. They're honestly they're bad. They're doing bad in every competition. They even went as far as going through 6 games in all competitions without scoring a single goal. Of course, now that's over when they scored. I don't remember against whom, honestly, but it was a bad like spell for them, and the season's not doing good. But they do have a solid chance of being transferred to Conference League knockout stages. It's like a demotion. It's if they manage to not be bottom of the group, which at the moment it's Olympiacos, that's 4th, and Nantes, if staying 3rd, they will be transferred to Conference League, and they might even play against another Armenian player. We'll see. But our Football Kentron future star Gorman Velian is currently a staple, a regular for Nantes B team. But as Aram said, somehow made bench for their senior squad, first team, in their last European game. But by the looks of it, he's not going to play. He didn't play that game, and he's not going to feature anytime soon, at least for as long as Comboire or whatever it's called stays at the helm of the team. Fans want him out, but for as long as he's there, I don't see him Gore playing. Honestly, we have been getting tired of pushing him, bully him into a low move, but it'll be up to him.
Dropping down to the 3rd European competition, the one that we've been watching the most, obviously, the UEFA Europa Conference League, where we have several Armenian players playing and a club. So we'll start with Andre Chalsir, who's been on the bench for Silkeborg in their 2 recent matches against Steaua Bucharest and Anderlecht. They ended up being, Steaua was like 5-0. It was some crazy scoreline. I think they did it twice.
5-0 in both games,
Yeah.
which is 10-0 aggregate against Steaua.
So it looks like Andre's playing mostly domestic games, and I think it kind of as much as I would prefer he play the European games than the domestic games, but he's not young, so it's not like we're gonna say, oh, the European experience will help him grow as a player or this and that. It's like
Exactly.
he's already experienced. It's as long as he's getting game time and is fit, I think that's what we
Not
should
getting
care
injured.
about. Yeah, just don't get injured.
Like keep your form, but don't get injured, and we'll be happy. But he's not the only one we got in that competition, the Conference League.
Yeah, we have Sargis Adamian, who is playing for a very underwhelming FC Köln side. They sit third in the Conference League, 1 point behind second place, and 4 points behind unexpected group leaders, Partizan Belgrade. Sako, again, is not doing so hot. He's starting European matches. He's benched in domestic league games, sometimes not even coming on. I think yesterday, we're recording this on Saturday, so yeah, their Friday night game, I think it was against Mainz.
They got battered.
Battered
Yeah.
5-0, and Sako didn't even come off the bench. So things are not looking so hot for them, but we'll see what happens over there. And finally, Tigran Barsegyan, who has been in great form for Slovan Bratislava, as they are sharing a group with Pyunik. And Tico is scoring and assisting in pretty much every competition. Domestic leagues kind of look like training sessions, according to Armen. It's a direct quote.
They do.
And they've been doing pretty good in their European competitions. They gave us a little bit of a scare because they went up, I think it was 3-1 or 3-0 against FC Basel in their last game, and then ended up blowing the lead, which is crazy. So we'll see what ends up happening. Obviously, this is a little bit of a tricky one for us here because we want to see Pyunik succeed. And we don't necessarily obviously want to see Slovan fail, but we want to see Tico succeed as well. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword here.
They can both get through and they can both get eliminated.
Yeah, that's true. It's so like up for grabs. If we look at the table, FC Basel's currently in first place with 7 points. Pyunik is in second place with 6 points.
Behind.
Slovan is in third place with 5 points, and Zalgiris is in bottom with 4 points. So it's just going by 1 point, and each team is essentially like Zalgiris could win against FC Basel, and they would go up to 7 points, and if they could potentially top the group. Like, it's so dynamic currently.
Literally one win separates the top from the bottom of the group.
Yeah, so it's every match is obviously going to be very decisive, but this next one that Pyunik, who will be traveling to Bratislava to play Slovan, is likely the most decisive one, because if Pyunik end up defeating Slovan, they will be guaranteed a knockout stage place, no matter what. I believe that may also be contingent on Basel beating Zalgiris, because if Zalgiris wins and Pyunik wins, then you have still 3 teams that can do that. But we, of course, would like to see an FC Basel win and a Pyunik win, and that would do it for the Conference League. I think that would give Pyunik the opportunity to fight for first place in the last game at home against FC Basel, but fully knowing that they have secured their place in the knockout stages, which would, of course, be like historic.
Yeah, and everything can happen. Like, I'm thinking, even though the table does look as anticipated a little bit, with Basel at the top and Zalgiris at the bottom, the difference is not big at all. Like, everything is up for grabs, and I did not anticipate Pyunik to be so hot and to be actually in pretty good odds of even grabbing top of the group. Like, if you take Zalgiris, they beat Pyunik by 1 goal, and they neither of the teams played good away in Lithuania, and Pyunik would have won that game had it not been for the artificial turf. Like, that's the only reason why Pyunik is on top of the table right now. But that makes you think, I don't know who else is going to go to travel to Lithuania next, but they're going to have a super tough time getting a result. Whoever it is, I think it's a Slovan. Yeah, Slovan.
I saw a very interesting post on the Armenia subreddit. Someone was trying to figure out how much money Pyunik has made so far from all their European competitions, and the figure they estimated was somewhere around 5 million euros. But that wasn't even counting their Champions League qualifying wins. So it should be like a little bit more, somewhere in like the 6 million mark. And if they were to top the group, they get 650,000, or if they get second, they get 325,000. And then
half a million more.
Playing in the knockouts, they get an additional 300, which is crazy. So we're talking about 300,000. Sorry, for playing in the knockout round. So the amount of like potential more money there is on the table for Pyunik is insane. That's not even considering the 500,000 they get for every. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the 500,000 they get for winning a game, for each game they win.
Regardless of how they do, Pyunik have, like, the reason why I say they have such a good shot at making it through and even winning top of the table of the group is because of how they played. Like, the opener was the single toughest game in the group. Their first ever, as a club, first ever European club group competition, and against the toughest opponent of the group, away in a legendary pitch, Santiago Park, and they ended up losing only 3-0 with 2 goals. We were actually talking about this before hopping on this and on air. Basel needed 2 goals, basically gifts by the ref, to beat Pyunik 3-1. Pyunik's goal was a lovely combination play with a great finish by Dasyan, and the fashion in which Pyunik ended the game, like attack until the last minute, till the last whistle, the final whistle, Basel looking scared. Like, that's honestly a memory I won't forget in a long time. And that was the opener. After that, it was an amazing, insane, convincing, solid win against a regional giant like Slovan Bratislava. Slovan looked completely out of the game, and they were. And then the win against Zalgiris again, and the only the defeat away again was because of the artificial turf. They're looking really, really good.
Yeah, they have a very good shot of getting through, and I think this Thursday is going to be a very defining match. So hopefully they do well. And to put it into perspective, if we were to like rank how well they're doing relative to other teams, if we're looking at the Conference League last year, Pyunik has outperformed so far 21 teams because they have gained 6 points in the group. So some of those teams include Anorthosis, Cluj, Maccabi Haifa, Kairat, Alashkert, Fenerbahce, Sparta Prague, Celtic. So a lot of good going on here, and hopefully they continue that.
This is memorable.
Well, moving on to the final portion of the episode, which is the Armenian National Team. As of now, as of this recording, which is on Saturday, October 22nd, we do not know the identity of who will be at the helm of the Armenian National Team. There have been a few names thrown around, names that we had actually mentioned in our show last time out.
Steven Gerrard, Jurgen Klopp.
Wait, Steven Gerrard just got fired, right?
Yeah, it's a joke. Please don't share this news. It's just a joke.
It was actually called drinking a glass of Armenian brandy. Not.
Yeah, well, we don't know what's going to happen. So as soon as we know, we'll of course tell everyone. But what we do know is a couple things. One, Armenia has scheduled a couple friendlies for next month, November 16th versus Kosovo and November 19th versus Albania. Both of these matches will be held away, which I think is a good thing, actually, because
For sure. I agree 100%.
Armenia needs to work on their away form. And this is all, of course, going to be in preparation, not for the World Cup, because we won't be there, because we blew that opportunity.
Unfortunately.
But this will be in preparation of the Euro 2024 qualifiers, which we had the draw. We'll tell you the draw now. We're not going to do a deep analysis of it right now, because there is such a long time until the games.
Yeah, we have also a lot to discuss as well, and we have a lot of time.
Yeah, so
and we should know the manager as well, so that way we know what we're expecting, we know who's gonna get called up, etc., etc.
Exactly. So in Armenia's group is, of course, Armenia, Croatia, Latvia, Wales, and Turkey. So Armenia got put into a group of 5, which is something that I was hoping for, and it's going to be a very, very tough group. But it's also, I think, going to be a lot more even, and hopefully that comes down to Armenia's performances, right?
Not.
Just totally disagree.
I don't know.
Looking like the Pyunik group, huh? Like balanced. Now that you say it's even, it reminds you of the Pyunik group. We might actually end up like that. It might be very close with everyone.
Yeah. But again, we don't. There's a lot of factors that we don't know right now, so it's hard for us to tell.
A lot of uncertainty.
Yes, a lot. There's 100 things that we cannot say anything at this point. Nothing.
Hopefully by the friendlies we'll have a manager. I think if we don't, that'll be a waste of friendlies, because what are we playing for? Who are we playing for?
I don't know.
It wouldn't make sense.
The most important thing for me would be to call up players that are like a little out of form, that could use the chemistry, could use the minutes, could use joining a national team camp every once in a while. I don't know, the Narek Grigorians, the Vahan Pichastyans, the Edgar Babayans, that kind of player.
Agreed. We'll see what happens. Of course, that will probably be covered in our next episode, because by then we should know the identity of the manager, and we'll probably be able to look at the squad and try to figure out, what sort of things we're anticipating. But until then, gentlemen, anything else to add before we wrap this one up?
Not really. I mean, let's see what Pyunik does. That's what I'm. It's gonna be a crazy month. Less than a month away from national team friendly camp, and then until then, there's European Cup competitions. Crazy 30 days coming.
Yeah, hopefully. So
we're reaching a milestone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
every day, that's what we strive for. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. This has been Football Kentron, episode 49. Ooh, episode 50 is around the corner, guys. Maybe we'll do something
We're getting
special.
old.
Yeah,
we're getting old, bro.
Maybe someone comes on the show. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram if you don't already. Share, talk to your friends about it, please. And that's about it.
Nah.